Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing fine and welcome again to the third and last day of Recto VRso 2021 festival. So our conference program comes to its end with this last session, more focused on online art creation and research. The last couple of days were more focused on the challenges of digital art at distance. And we also questioned uh, the reality of new hybrid museums and virtual museums, especially during the pandemic. And at last, yesterday, also we talked about the new ways and the new models of curating digital art today. Today is more focused, as I said, on research and creation, and we will welcome teachers and artists that are involved in research creation practices that who will share with us and with the public their pedagogical projects and how they encountered maybe problems during their creative process. Thank you very much. So this session will be moderated by François Garnier. Bienvenue, François, welcome. François? We can't hear you. Mm. Can you activate your microphone? Okay, maybe François, maybe you have a little problem with your microphone? Um, yes, it's okay. All right, so by the time, François, uh, you solve the problem. Um, I will say a few words about this session, this morning session that welcome Yann Minh, Gaëtan Robillard, and Sophie Daste, that who will talk about research and creation and online teaching challenges. And they will also share with us the pedagogical related issues in virtual and collaborative spaces. Yes, François, I let you.
Hello. Uh,
Yes.
did you? Okay. I did not know what's happened. Yeah. Sorry. Ellen, you did the presentation of the intervenant?
No, I let you present
Okay. Very
present
good.
each one of them and call them on the
Perfect.
stage. Thank you.
Perfect. Then I'm very pleased to moderate this session. Uh, as I say, I'm a film director, new media conceptor, and I'm the head of research of a research group in l'École nationale des arts décoratifs calling Spatial Media, and we work and we develop a research creation activity from now more than 10 years about virtual world. Then I'm very pleased to invite Gaëtan Robillard. Gaëtan is a virtual artist and is a visiting professor at the University Gustave Eiffel. He's a PhD candidate of Paris 8, and he was one of the member of the Chris Marker promotion in Fresnois. Just a clin d'œil to Chris Marker, who was one of the first artists in virtual world. Then we will have to.
Thank you.
we will have to Yann Minh. Yann Minh is an artist and a researcher. He's a cyberpunk, a node. He was the creator of the No Museum, and parallelly with this artistic activity, he teach in the Les Gobelins, l'ENSAM, and l'ESTA. And then
Hello.
hello, Yann. And then the third speaker will be Sophie Daste. Sophie Daste is professor, maître de conférence in Paris, Paris 8, University of Paris 8 in Paris, in France, and she's a member of the research laboratory Attali, Art and Technology of Picture. Okay, then Gaëtan, I let you take the control and make your presentation. It will be 5 short presentation of 5 minutes, and after we have a talk together.
Yes, all right. Thank you very much, François, for this introduction. I will just take 1 second to copy the link of my presentation in the screen on screen. Yes,
it has been done, Gaëtan. You need only to move your slides.
Okay, thank you very much, Elhem.
Thank you.
So I guess this is now the presentation. Thank you also, Elhem, for inviting me here. So I just want to talk about very few things. I think I will introduce a bit of my current research in aesthetics. As François said, I'm also a PhD candidate these days in Paris 8 University. And actually, it's been 3 years.
Sorry, Gaëtan, your screen is the one on the middle. Just turn around and you can zoom on it. This one.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, all right. Oh, but this is now going too fast. Sorry. Yes. Okay. Again. So yes, I'm working on a research that's I name tracing algorithms. So I'm very much interested into looking into history of computer art and my attempts. I'm trying to find ways to question and to put into question the way artists are working with algorithms and softwares, and especially when it comes to opposing or confronting what is visible and what's computable. So that's the core of my current research. And in fact, this research is very much involved with working with students, of course, because I'm teaching in especially in University Gustave Eiffel, at the east of Paris, and there we are currently working, for example, with students on generative adversarial network. So it's a type of deep learning algorithm, which is based on confronting, on opposing two systems, two different structures that are and which are aiming at producing images that are not existing. So it's based on generative methods, on generative aesthetics too, which in fact started already more than 50 years ago. But today, with deep learning and new discoveries in this area, new practices are also possible, and this is what I'm trying to push currently, to develop currently. So with students in Université Gustave Eiffel, we are now currently programming this software, and we are especially focusing on drawing, on lines. So this is much questioning the way also artists are producing traces, or in French we say traces. I'm not sure in English this is the correct word, but maybe tracks also would be something like a translation. And while doing so, we are wondering if actually an artificial intelligence can draw. And I'm still currently not sure it's kind of feasible. I mean, doing a line, producing a line algorithmically is something like a challenge. Computers were never made to draw. So so again here there's with a generative adversarial network, there's a kind of challenge. And our focus with the students was we wanted to be able to complete existing drawings, to create sort of interaction with the one that draws, with the person who is drawing, and see what the network could offer as a completion, as an extension of a gesture, of a human gesture. So these are some results, or some very modest results that we are getting, and we see that there's something yet blur in this approach. And as I said, the question still remains that if at all this network can produce a line. And I present this because I involved this questioning into a meeting between two types of students. The students who are developing the network, the deep learning network, are students in engineering faculty in the Université Gustave Eiffel. So their approach is very much oriented in programming, but they also have classes that are artistic classes. And I wanted them to meet students from art school in this project. So what we did is to meet up online in a setup that was offered by the Art School of Tours, which is called ESAD. And the ESAD and its laboratory, which is called Laboratoire des Intuitions, offered a sort of device where things would be connected in a sort of ghost office where nobody would go, but that would still be working. So we wanted to make a sort of meeting around this ghost office, which is equipped with different types of machines capable of drawing, of printing 3D things, of tracing, and this kind of thing, of plotting. And we wanted to see what would come up between in the meeting between two groups, while trying to learn some things about deep learning. So it was much of an experiment, and I think it was also kind of questioning this or trying to work on this distance, this necessary distance that we now live today because of the COVID. And this was also an opportunity, of course, for me to pursue some research step. And the bottom image, for instance, here is a heat map of a small processor that is actually computing, that is computing some software, and we were also willing to evaluate physical impact of computational activity. So that's an ongoing project. So I don't have much of a conclusion here, but I think it's interesting to see how different disciplines also can process in education and in artistic education online. And I must say this is something that is quite open, and I'm very interested to hear about other experiences in this context. So thank you again, Elhem and François, for your invitation. And that's it.
Then thank you very much, Gaëtan. Now I propose to Yann to make his short presentation.
Thank you.
Yann,
Yes, hello.
you can come off the front desk if you want.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I will just now share my screen. So just 1 minute. I must try that. Yes, so there will be a sort of feedback. Right. So I will show you a little of my new museum that you certainly see now. And so I might play. Suppose you see the movie.
Yes, we see.
Thank you. So, hey, thank you for welcoming me to the Recto Festival. You can download the standalone Mac PC version of the new museum to try it you can find in the festival. So, here's a little tour of the museum. The new museum is a both digital art, also an immersive education training tool been using for 18 years in engineering and art school. The new kind of palace of memory that reproduces the ancient teaching of the Ars Memorativa, or palace of in the virtual world dedicated to the history and prehistory of their culture. There is also a cyberspace research and tool. One of the most emblematic virtual galleries of the new museum is the Aristopunk Gallery. By building the 3D edition of Velasquez's painting, the Meninas, I discovered the existence of a back door in the painting, and until now, still don't know. Well, literally than figuratively. The back door behind Don Roberto Velasquez, this one. I built the first version of my new museum in 2003, the first-person shooter video game Unreal Tournament. I built the second of my new museum in Second Life in 2007. I built the standalone version on Unity in 2011. The second Life new museum from 2007 efficient from a pedagogical point of view, but unfortunately, these firewalls and problem of access to digital networks make it possible to use bench education structures even today. I use the standalone Unity player, which is more really because it doesn't require any connection to digital. Over time, I have acquired, how can I say, expertise and reflection on certain specific cognitive process related to the user on 3D in real time. In digital social and in education things, which I will be very happy to share with you in my space at the festival, if you dare. The new museum is emblematic of a process of creative empowerment or creative emancipation, like library X, Y, Zeta, and Alpha, it is pirating the creative tools available on digital networks, both to create my artworks, to distribute cyberspace. At the end of the 20th century, art is definition. With cybernetics, has become the highest of information processing of the higher level of information processing of mankind. So English is very excellent. The challenge of this 20th century is no longer to consume art, but much more to massively make art. Generation are massively pirating the tools to really explore the layers of digital creations and thus explore new open frontier in the infinity cyberspace. And you can see data viz, while in the 20th century television millions of people to escape the mediocrity of their urban environment, new virtual worlds, persistent worlds, metaverse, that will allow us to endure harmoniously massive commitment of 9 billion humans in the gigabit of our near future. So, thank you to this future.
Thank
I
you.
must stop the sharing.
Yeah.
Stop it. It's okay. I think it is stopped.
Yeah. Thank you, Yann. We get a little problem because video flux was hurting a little bit your voice, but I think we understand what you say. Okay, then now I will call Sophie. Sophie, if you want to make your presentation.
I don't know where is my presentation. Maybe after than Gaëtan.
Elhem.
Sophie,
Hi.
tu as ta présentation?
Oui, je l'ai envoyé lundi.
Ok.
Voilà.
Peut-être que je vais le mettre sur mon écran et partager mon écran. Peut-être qu'on peut
Oui,
réussir
c'est possible. Et si,
avec un PowerPoint.
Avec un PowerPoint, c'est parfait.
À moins, Sophie, qu'il y ait un lien sur
Ouais.
ce PowerPoint et sur un Google. Parce que normalement, tu le mets sur l'écran, tu écris le lien et tu trouveras ton PowerPoint.
Aussi, tu peux faire aussi faire par partage d'écran.
D'accord, très bien.
Parfait.
Très bien. Voilà, j'espère qu'on n'aura juste pas le même problème de voix qu'avec Yann. Il a marché. Allô?
On m'a dit qu'il prépare la conversion. Donc peut-être que... Ou est-ce que vous avez le partage d'écran quand je mets mon slide?
Envoyez ton slide.
On voit ton slide.
Ok, très bien. Bon, bah, c'est ça que je voulais savoir si c'était bon. Ok, alors, à partir du début. So. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Originally, I admitted a special workshop during last 10 days with my students. The goal of the workshop was created 5 projects to exhibit here in the space of a special office. Started in the April 6th, ending April 12, and I upload the result Monday and Tuesday, and maybe Wednesday morning. But I think you know what happened. French president spoke, and school closed after April 6th for 3 weeks. So I canceled the special Recto VRso workshop. I'm so sad. But don't worry, our students are not abandoned by pedagogical team, and they made with Rémi Soyer 4 days about morning creation time online and afternoon critic production time online. Seems a very good experience. So I will talk to you about a special project session. The next one begins next Monday on my watch 2 during 3 weeks for Master 1 and 10 days for License 3. This special session are, arrive 2 times in the year. The first time is in January, just after Christmas holidays. The theme this year was particular because Edmond Couchot, the founder of our formation, Attali, just passed away on December. Edmond Couchot was a pioneer of terrorist and digital arts. Edmond Couchot was Dandelions, so it was therefore important to pay tribute to him through the theme I can but translate, another body is born from the form of numbers. During 10 days, our first year, License 3, produced 7 projects. I choose to show you 2 here. This one is a short movie named Singularité. You can witness the ephemeral life of a butterfly that gives birth to its decoration with each browsing. And this, Le Souffle Emporté, breathtaking. It's an interactive installation like a walking simulator. You meet on your way down the aliens. When you blow, their purpose reveals a memory of the place to you. You can watch these 2 projects in our Attali office entirely on the right screen. And you can download the build of the Souffle Emporté and watch again a part of this video in this office, the 16 Espace Edmond Couchot, in the front of Attali and InRev office. You can also find in this place interviews and pitches by Edmond Couchot and of course videos of his iconic works. But now I want to invite you, if you haven't already, the image is from Monday, so now there are more stickies, to collaborate of the interactive and collaborating pieces, Constellation de pensée numérique, Constellation of digital thought, in the Office 16 Espace Edmond Couchot. You are invited to put a sticky note, choose your favorite color, and which you can write a notion or a concept or a simple word that Edmond Couchot evokes or provokes in you. And don't worry, it's not important or maybe interesting if your digital reference is the same than another already written. So thank you for my 5 minutes presentation.
Thank you, Sophie. Then we are a little bit. You heard me?
Yeah.
Okay. We are a little bit late on the planning, but I propose to have a short talk together um, about what means research creation in virtual world. To introduce that, I remember when I created this research group now more than 10 years ago, I was very impressed by this possibility offered by the virtual world to create, to work and teach, and to expose in the same medium. Basically, the material we was using to create was the material where we was for create and was the material where we can show our creation. And this direct connection in between the medium, the work workshop place and the exhibition place was my first attraction for this kind of work. Then, have you some remark on the research creation démarche connect with this specificity of the virtual world? Yann, some experience you can share? About pedagogic experience?
Sorry, did you
Yes.
see me, François? Your sound is very bad.
Uh-huh. Okay, sorry.
Did you ask me something?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
Okay, you don't heard me. Okay, it look like okay for some person in the. Then, well, I can. Okay, I don't know if Yann, if you heard me. Okay,
I
just
hear.
one. Yeah.
Difficultly, but I hear.
Then I just remember a first experience of research creation uh, done in Etsad Lab, where when we was invited, Yann Minh in our laboratory to ask to the student to create a piece of the news museum. You remember this experience?
Ah, yes, yes, yes. I remember it was a moment where, how can I say, it's a workshop with your student, and we build a sort of synchronization in real world and Second Life.
Yeah.
And we art performance with the student. And it was a very good moment, a beautiful performance. I but the I cannot say more.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, some question in the assistance about teaching and learning in virtual world.
Yes, I have a question. May I ask it,
Yes,
please?
yes, we listen your question.
Okay, yeah, I would like to know how do you keep up to date as things are changing so much and the teaching programs are minimum 2 years to so at the end what you will have learned in the very beginning will just be like kind of history, like it's very difficult to keep up to date and with the actual programs and the way they are built. It's yeah, how do you solve that issue of things changing so fast versus the way the programs are educational programs traditional are built.
Okay, who want to respond to this question? Sophie, maybe, or Gaëtan?
Yeah, I can try to answer the question. I mean, in the from the point of view of the engineer faculty, which is called IMAC in the Gustave Eiffel University, we are training engineers in the for image, for virtual reality, and yeah, cinema and video game. And it's clear we have to kind of keep up on the new technologies and how they evolve. So we are trying always to have an ear in new skills that are emerging. But at the same time, there is a core of teaching. For instance, if you take the arts, we have elementary knowledges that we know the students should get, and elementary practice they should get. And actually, this works both in the arts and in the science, also in the science teachings. And it's a kind of balance, I would say. It's a complicated question you are asking, and it's very challenging, I would say, to find a way to take up this equilibrium.
Thank you.
I can add something connected with the software. Um, I'm very sad that from now, I will say, the last 15 years where we use virtual world for creative creation and research and creation and teaching, then they still not exist a clear technology where we can, in an open source way, develop some art, have the social tool for teach, and have the social tool for show, I would say. And that actually one of the I think one of the bigger problems for the development of research creation and teaching in virtual world is to find the open source technology developed for university. I think it's a real mist actually.
Interesting. Thank you.
Some other question? Okay.
Not to have the monopoly, but just one little question just to expand. Would you be able to point to a place or some of your favorite places, kind of repositories for the research, for the studies and papers that you have published within your research and experience? uh, I mean, lacking this space of virtual collaboration and construction in open source, maybe there are some resources out there that we would like, that would be worth it to know about.
Um, some response from Sophie or then
Chat the chat, so I have this concentration about that. Just for publication, it's not a big deal about virtual world. It's interesting, I think, about conferences because all people can hear and learn at the same time where they go. I think Yann Minh Museum is a very interesting place, and I think there are maybe it's more interesting to think about more like that places. But at the time, it's difficult to. Sorry, my sound is very bad. No, you. So now it's difficult, I think, to have everything at the virtual world to teaching and show. I think it's interesting way, but not if it's the only way with emergency to live, to show some things, because it's important for us to share, and it's complicated. So I'm sorry. Okay.
some other question or something to say around this subject? Well, to find some, there are some documentation and some research association about learning and teaching in virtual world. I know that immersive education and immersive learning association produce some conference about this subject. Can find on these two association, but we organized 8 years ago a symposium about this thematic, and the goal was to create tools who was open source for all university, but it's never happened actually. It's all time this problem of a platform, in fact.
Yes. Um,
Hello, hello.
Yes,
There
Yann.
was just a question for me in the chat. If you hear me well, I am really sorry, but my sound is very bad, so I don't understand most of the voice. So I will answer to just um, she asked me about my new museum and my experience of the new museum. In fact, what I the main pedagogical efficiency is because the virtual world, how can I say, the body, what we are living right now, it's the back of the body in the virtual materiality, virtual worlds. And that's paradoxal. And the pedagogical tool of the new museum is just because I give students since many years a version of the new museum, or they are connected with me like FPS, and every student is like we are doing in Second Life or this virtual world. The student is traveling in the virtual world during the moment I am teaching. And in fact, travel to the virtual world, the student is not like you are right now. You are sitting. It's interesting because we produce the bad level, the bad things of regional teaching in virtual worlds. In fact, my first conference in Second Life, long ago, I built a world where the avatars were obliged to move behind me. I was moving and I was walking behind me like a very old technique called ars memorativa that was used in the antiquity. And the student was obliged to walk behind the teacher. And by the way, walking behind the teacher generate what Pierre Baloquin calls the topomnèse. It is it's the mémoire, the palace, and it's because the body is because your body is walking, the subconscious is in the exchange, in the information. And because the subconscious is involved in the learning, you just after remember the labyrinth, the path, the trajectory in the real world to remember what the teacher, what the master was teaching. This happened in the virtual world with only your hands, just because you are obliged to move your avatar behind my just because you have to move your avatar with your fingers on the keyboard or on the pad, you involve the body and the unconscious, the subconscious. And then the effect of topomnèse or ars memorativa is activated. And that meaning 80% of success is the validation of knowledge at school, you know. The surprising thing when I begin to do that 20 years ago, I thought everybody will do it.
Yann, on va devoir conclure.
Ouais, d'accord, okay,
Ouais.
sorry.
No problem. And
Oh,
yes, your voice is a little bit difficult, actually.
yes.
Yes, Ellen? Ellen, I did not hear you.
Yes, I was talking without turning on my mic.
Okay.
So thank you all for your presentations and for sharing with us your pedagogical visions and your experiences. And about Yann Minh, he's giving a more extended presentation later between 1 p.m. and 2:15 p.m. In his boardroom, so we can go there afterwards and listen more to more details about the new museum. I thank you very much, Gaëtan Robillard, Sophie, Yann, and
Thank you.
François for moderating the session.
Thank you, Ellen, for the invitation, and thank you to all the assistants.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I just make a short announcement. I will go to the research creation area where IMAC, the engineer training program, is presented. I will be there in the next hour.
Cool. Thank you, Gaëtan.
See you.
Thank you. See you.
See you.
And now I have the pleasure to welcome InDialog, Imane Lehérissier, Nacho de la Vega Fernandez and Cristina de Silva, and Sylvain Levy, who will be joining us a little bit later. So InDialog, Tiffany, Attali, Imane, I invite you to come on stage. Yes, Nacho. And Sylvain will be joining us later. So welcome everyone. So I'll present InDialog, represented here by Tiffany. InDialog is a collective of artists, architects, programmers, graphic designers, and also game developers who see themselves as digital scenographers. They have a romantic view of technology, and their process combines an accurate approach to virtual spatial design with contemporary theories of user perception. Building on the constructive and chaotic energy of the internet, Children of Cyberspace, the project that they will be presenting, strive to create creative realms for artists to express themselves freely. InDialog, represented by Tiffany Attali, is also composed by Calin Segal, Codine Segal, and Eleonore Oji. Welcome, Tiffany. Nacho de la Vega and Cristina de Silva are co-director of Lev Festival. Since the beginning in 2007, and also co-director of the Arena Movedizas, a performance-based project both located in the city of Gijon, Asturias. I hope I pronounce well. They are active part of the digital art and electronic culture scene in Spain, serving as catalyst and promoters of working networks through the creation of visibility platforms for avant-garde creation through their curatorial projects and collaborations, such as the international ENCIC network. They are also co-founder of Fume, a group of audiovisual artists that have participated in plenty of events and established collaborations with creators from different backgrounds. Imane Lehérissier. She's head of artistic programming at Château Ephémère since 2019. She studied art history and cultural project management, and she moved into the field of visual arts and contemporary art and specialized in accompanying artists in residence, for example, in Gaëtan Robillard, Atelier Médicis, and Château Ephémère. She also coordinates projects in the field of cinema and exhibition and is particularly interested in projects that question the stakes of artist residency in a territory. And finally, Sylvain Levy, who is an art collector and founder with Dominique Levy of the DSL collection in 2005. He established a model that would make collecting art continuously active and meaningful. He seeks actually since 2016 to embark on a new journey in the video game realm for the collection. Also, he's eager of new adventures in creating projects that uses gaming as a language. Thank you very much all for accepting our invitation. And maybe we shall begin with InDialog. Tiffany?
Elhem, thank you so much for the introduction. Oh, I think there is speaker. Okay. Thank you so much for presenting us and for the introduction. Hello, everyone, and we're very happy to have you with us today in this virtual room. Thank you, Elhem, thank you, Judith, and the whole Recto VRso team for inviting us. It's a real pleasure to be back here after a year. So I'm Tiffany Attali, co-founder of InDialog and Children of Cyberspace, two digital art studio. I have with me, in the same avatar body, Calin Segal, co-founder of both Collective, and Nabi, who joined us for the Children of Cyberspace adventure. InDialog creates interactive installation that bridge the physical with the digital world, while Children of Cyberspace create immersive world in the virtual realm, both online and in virtual reality, or as video game with our latest project, June. You might ask, why two different entities? Well, let's go backward, exactly a year ago. On the 15th of April last year was the opening of our very first exhibition with Children of Cyberspace. As everyone, when the first lockdown hit us, we got all of our exhibition canceled. We found ourselves with no space of expression, except social media and their ruthless algorithm. We didn't wait too long. After 2 days of lockdown, spinning in circle in our living room, we came to the evidence that we had to open a platform whose main principle would be freedom of expression and exploration. This is when we took a leap of faith in cyberspace. Together with other artists, architects, and programmers, we opened Children of Cyberspace, our own online platform to host cultural events. From the way we handle the data to the curation, the platform is a social cultural experiment that revives the peer-to-peer aspiration of the early days of internet. For that first exhibition, we invited 15 amazing artists from all around the world to take part in this artistic as well as social experiment. Among them, Elhem, Younes, and Nabi, who both are with us today. We're aiming at setting up a self-sustaining and independent ecosystem so that this space can become permanent, and are currently searching for partners to help us bring this virtual public space forward. As a way to experience digital artwork in their native format, we're free to immerse ourselves directly in them. We're not longer constrained to render them onto the surface. You can put the showreel video, so you can see samples of the past projects that we did along this year. Thank you. We have the chance to have with us today the amazing people that we got to collaborate with on this project. Chris and Nacho, the directors of the Lev Festival, with whom we created Planet Lev, a VR and web-based digital art festival. And Imane from the Château Ephémère team, with the immersive experience, the Château in the Cloud. We'll let them talk about those projects, those experiences, because today we want to focus on our latest project called June, a video game in collaboration with the DSL collection, represented here by Sylvain Levy. And I'll let Calin talk about June and Eleanor.
So before we start talking about June per se, I want to present you a bit our main source of inspiration. We're really fascinated by this concept of cyberspace. But what do we mean by cyberspace? I'm not talking about this utopic vision of it. I have a much more, let's say, infantilic version of it. It's a mythical land, the same as Mount Olympus or the celestial plains of in the Confucius writing. It's a place where our modern gods live, a place where we get our moral compass from, for good or for bad. But for us personally, cyberspace is a fantasized version of reality that we have created in order to give meaning to our times. It's still a young place, and its heroes are still to be discovered. So we thought it appropriate to create a story that would allow us to see into this world, to imagine what it could be like. In a way, this game is our attempt to synthesize the crude spirit of our times in a modern fairy tale. It is based on a universal narrative that exists in all legends and myths around the world, that of self-discovery, of confronting one's shortcoming and taking away a broader view of our own place in the universe. What creates a myth is its fictional universe, composed of its laws and expressed through its different entities that inhabit it. They are all designed to be caricatures of defining trends in human behavior that serve to set the bounds of our moral spectrum, the good, the bad, the generous, the selfish. But what gives it credibility is its aesthetics, its visual aesthetics, semantics, behavioral, and acoustics. And most importantly of all, its symbology. Symbology is the glue that ties this make-believe world together. So with that in mind, we set up to create a hero. From the visual design to the mechanics of the game, we paid close attention to create a path for our hero on which the player together can go on a journey of self-discovery. I'm not going to talk too in detail about the exact implications of these ideas because the game is still in its early stages and we would like to leave the crunchy part for the opening. But we could already present you some extracts of our work in progress. Now let Eleanor present her little baby, June.
Hello, everybody. So yes, here on screen is June, our hero. So we really wanted to have an inspiring feminine heroine and someone who wouldn't succeed because she was beautiful or because she was somehow unique, but instead because she would be like any young child building his or her identity, looking for challenges to overcome and approaching the unknown with infinite curiosity and bravery. So next slide. So what does June look like? So one of the challenges that we faced was that we wanted to express a feminine character, but really wanting to go radically against the overly sexualized tendency that feminine characters have in video games. So every element of her look would help us define this balance, and iterating with hairstyles and headpieces allowed us to sort of shape that attitude that she would have. So then we also had to build the character, so explored a different set of attitudes through silhouettes that could express a range of states, from shy to confident, stubborn to curious, and above all, having a character that was fragile but agile, so strong. So how does one dress in cyberspace? So you could argue that in cyberspace you don't even need clothes, but we wanted June to be dressed minimally. And so we iterated on an outfit that would be comfortable in all situations and that didn't look particularly tailored or from any particular place on Earth. So the notion of being sort of from anywhere was also really embedded with a simple belt to hold it in place. Her accessories as well were kind of introducing, the aim was to incorporate as many game mechanics as we could within the character. So her headpiece is also functional and stores some of her abilities.
So now we can share a few samples of the game, some extracts. You can put the trailer as the video, please.
And in terms of the design of the space itself, we wanted to communicate that impression that that cyberspace is a natural evolving organism. So we try to combine an organic language with a mechanical aesthetic that would allow us to convey feeling of an organisms that have evolved naturally within cyberspace. So for that, we've worked with a friend of ours, Pan, who has helped us kind of set the first guiding lines of this aesthetics. And here on screen, you can see some of his drawings. Then when we started implementing them, we came up with this idea of a continuous mesh that kind of symbolizes the network of information that happens in cyberspace. So we take this very primitive geometry and we start to stretch it and pull it into different platforms, corridors, and so on. As any myth, we need to have the journey of the hero defined within a social norm. And for that, we couldn't have been more lucky than to work with DSL collections, whose artists allow us to tap into their artistic parcours, their life's journey, as source of inspiration for the game. And for example, one of the strongest artists that we're currently introducing in the game is Zhang Huan, because his performance, 12 square meters, was one of the most subversive and dangerous performances of his time. Zhang opened the performance of this piece in a stinky public toilet that was 12 square meters in size, located in some remote part of the East Village. When Zhang had finished his performance, he cleaned himself from a small pond. As he did, he left a group of dead flies and insects floating in the pond. By subjecting himself to the unbearable smell of the toilet, as well as the swarm of bugs and flies coverting the body, Zhang was demonstrating his acceptance of his identity as a struggling artist, as well as accepting his own environment and local community. And this is a characteristic that we want to embed in the game itself, this idea of accepting its environment, of continuing on, of discovery.
So the photograph that you see here is part of the DSL collection. Sylvain is here today and gave me the honor to introduce the DSL collection. The DSL collection is a family collection of artwork and experiences. Its mission is to make known the strong and provocative ideas of Chinese contemporary artists. In an innovative approach of cultural entrepreneurship, it uses technology as a tool for cultural dissemination. They are one of the rare private collections to have decided to go public and have been pioneers in utilizing new technology for that purpose. With the ambition of having a nomadic collection, they opened in 2017 their VR museum, where they can finally carry in a suitcase their XXL collection of artwork. They have another ongoing project called DSL Art Village. It's a social VR platform made by the artist Lily Ongley, where they will be able to organize exhibition, conferences, and performances. The most interesting part of this project is that the environment is a reconstruction from the memory of the artists themselves, of the 80s and 90s Chinese village, where major avant-garde movement emerged. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and we'll let President Nacho and Imane continue on to present the rest of the projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tiffany, for your presentation. We will take a few questions later, and we will discuss few details later. And I'm happy to welcome now Nacho and Christina on stage. And I let you present now. Thank you.
Hello, welcome everyone. First of all, thank you so much to Laval Virtual, Recto VRso, and the children for having us today. We are very happy to be able to share all the processes and adventures behind the project we named Planet Left.
Hello, we are Cristina de Silva and Nacho de la Vega from the Left Festival, platform focused on audiovisual, electronic, and digital creation for the last 15 years. The festival has two main venues and events. Left Festival in Gijón, in the north of Spain, and Left Matadero in the Cultural Center, Matadero in Madrid.
2 years ago, we created at Left Matadero a new section focused on new narratives and immersive experiences with a very experimental and artistic point of view that we named Vortex. Just a year ago, we were lucky to attend the virtual edition of Laval Virtual and the presentation of the Children of Cyberspace. We got in touch with them immediately because we had a really good feeling about these people and their work, and we started to collaborate. The challenge was to build a virtual program where the festival could program different activities, audiovisual installations, live performances, a virtual and deep artistic experience called Planet Left. After an artistic residency in our city at Gijón, we managed to finish the project in around 3 months and present it in the edition of Left Matadero Madrid last September.
Welcome to Planet Lev, a virtual planet.
The project is still active, so we encourage you to visit it. There are 2 different ways to visit Planet Lev: from your web browser or using a virtual reality device through the Steam platform. Once you are inside, you will be able to tour the massive cliffs of this universe, enter its caves, and discover artistic installations in every corner. All this by taking the form of a small turtle or a jellyfish who will be your avatar while you enjoy this digital adventure. The planet has 3 different layers. The terrain, that is the land of the planet, where there are hosted the audiovisual installations and different forms of digital species designed by the children of cyberspace. The core, that is the heart of the planet, designed to host live performances, and the orbit, with satellite platforms for temporary exhibitions open to different types of works and experimentation. Let's see a video around these ideas.
Spin rises in the south of terrain, where the horizon is visualized among cliffs and caves. A sound sculpture in the shape of two gigantic rings. A space of meditation, created by visual artist Lucas Gutierrez and composer Robert Lippock. The perfect place to experiment with listening at different heights and in different directions. In the east of planet Lev, you can find the highest peaks and the most mysterious cliffs. A translucent dome welcomes us, perfectly adapted to a virtual world. A fully developed planetarium, where the projections on the dome can be appreciated from the inside and the outside. Spheral Cluster by Boris Divider welcomes us with an experience in textures and geometric shapes. A reflection on the power of synchrony. Reflections of other realities can be found inside Core, the heart of planet Lev. You can access it through the live gates in the hall, which take you to a stage devoted to live music and projections of earthling origin. A meeting point around a 2D screen, a tribute to the bi-dimensional era of data processing. Orbit is an exhibition space for hosting works created both by guest artists and participants in Planet Lev workshops. A platform to ensure the constant expansion of creativity in the Lev universe. Ecosystems is an exhibition by artist Shoik. New life forms in a virtual terrarium. A collection of 3D collages based on scans of Earth vegetation. An exhibition that makes cyberspace a more beautiful place. And that reminds us of the importance of defending a better culture, to have a better planet.
We are currently considering some challenges to implement in the planet for the next edition of LEV, as we consider it as a working process, a never-ending working process. As for example, to improve the multiplayer functionality, the interaction between avatars, and some experiments at the dome. And that's all. Thank you very much. We would like to thank especially to Rosa Ferrer, who is Artistic Director of Matadero Madrid, for her vision and support, and also to all the LEV team behind this project, and to all the artists that have made this adventure possible. And very especially to the children of cyberspace for their kind and eternal energy. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Nacho and Christina, for your presentation. And I will now welcome Imane Lehérissier. Oh, we can sit down, by the way, on the chairs.
Okay.
Imane?
Yes.
Yes, welcome. Welcome again.
Does it work? It's uploading. Okay. So, hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Okay, great. So yes, hi everyone. Thank you, Recto VRso, Elhem, and thank you, Tiffany and Codin, for the invitation. I'm glad to be here today to share with you our experience about the project, The Castle in the Cloud. To understand how we started this project, let me remind you a few words about the Château Ephémère. I don't know if my... Yes, it works, sorry. So, Le Château Ephémère is an art residency place dedicated to digital and sound arts. We support every year no less than 50 artistic projects at the crossroads of experimentation, digital arts, research, and electronic music. As you may have noticed, Le Château Ephémère took place in a real castle, which was the Castle Vanderbilt. So it's a place with a great history, and we're so happy to make alive this castle through our project. We launch every year a big call for application, and that's how we began our journey with InDialog in 2018. After that, the collective InDialog and our team still collaborates many times through different projects, and that's how we came to the Château dans le Cloud. So a year ago, InDialog Collective proposed us to join the adventure of the virtual museum. At this time, our place was, of course, totally closed, and we were not allowed to welcome artists in residency. So as everyone, we were thinking different way to still work with artists and show their project. So it was a great opportunity to have the chance to create and imagine this virtual world with InDialog. Can you start the video, please? Thank you. So in few words, the Castle in the Cloud is a virtual exhibition featuring immersive sound experiences and 3D artworks, showing the artworks of our resident artists and also guest artists. We showed the project for the first time in June and July 2020 through online events linking mediation, visit of the space, and meeting with the artists. In my opinion, there's two important things to understand about this project. The first one was that InDialog creates a virtual environment that is infused by the real architecture of the castle, but in a more poetical way. It's not a copy. So for us, the Castle in the Cloud is an increased vision of our place, mixing true architectural elements that are representative of the castle, but also its environment, like the Seine River, but with many fictional elements. That's important because in this way, this platform could be a place of total freedom with an infinity of possibilities. And I wish Mr. Vanderbilt would have been pleased by this idea. The second thing was to integrate the different artworks of our guest artists, but in a virtual way. So it was a big work of virtual scenography. In this point, InDialog made an incredible work of collaboration with the artists, imagining how they can translate their work in the platform. But it's not all about translating, it's about making new artworks from artworks. And it was also a big challenge to materialize sound arts and to link visual arts to sounds. So the Château dans le Cloud is a great experience for us and a beautiful journey with artists. And we were very happy to be able to imagine, share, and collaborate with all the artists and support them by showing their works in this bad situation. But we don't see this platform only as a way to exist during this epidemic, but as an amazing possibility to promote artistic collaboration and to increase the curiosity of our public through virtual experience, video game medium, and virtual reality. So to finish, I'd like to say that the Château, the Castle in the Cloud is a true sensitive experience that could be lived in many ways. It's a space for exploration, discovery, and with a big idea of universality. And so, yeah, once again, we are glad to have the chance to collaborate with the InDialog team. So thank you, Tiffany, Calin, and Codin. And yeah, we can't wait to continue this adventure with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Imane, for your presentation too. I'm afraid we don't have a lot of time for the debate, but we can maybe take a few questions from the public. And I myself have like a little question. So because InDialog is like the convergent point between all of you, and I would like to ask a question about your visions and everything. So maybe we can start with the public.
So I see that there's a question in the chat about the technical requirement. I'll let Calin answer about that.
Yes, maybe yes, maybe I will read it out loud for the others. So this question is from C. Schmidt, I guess. So, do the technical requirements of your audience play a role in your creation processes? One of the difficulties of digital art is that you no longer know what the reception situation of the visitors looks like. What technology do they use? Are they at home, alone with others, etc.?
So that's a pretty good question. There are kind of two aspects to this. So one is technological, and in this one, this is the main difference between doing a live performance or doing an online event, is that you have to take in consideration that we are working on all type of hardware, all types of situation of bad internet, good internet, new computers, old computers. So that kind of limits a lot the potential of what you can really put into one of this experience in terms of the technical requirements, but it also creates a unique opportunity to really play with scarcity and have really creative ways of optimization. Then there's also the psychological aspects, and that one you can't really control it, is the presence of the person while doing this experience. And for that one, on our design part, we try to always create this open space worlds, these environments that allow people to slowly get into the environment. It's never brutal. It's always a gentle introduction in this world. And this is very important because you never know the state of the user when he's starting the experience. So you need to guide him slowly within the mindset that you want to obtain. It's not like when you're working within a theater or a venue hall, where already the environment imposes a certain behavior from the audience.
Thank you, Calin. There is a complementary question from Elise Asport. She says, very pragmatic, how does it cost? It seems very complex, like a short video game.
Well, on the cost part, it's always it's a massive dilemma always. But let's just say that it's a bit more expensive than your typical event because it requires a bit more technical skills. But at the same time, with today's advancement in technology, it's pretty straightforward. Keep in mind that it took us kind of 3 months to set the Lev planet. It's true that we had a base already of 2 months work before. So let's say roughly it took us 5 months to set up the infrastructure.
And like I would add that technically, as Calin said, the system is more or less in place, but what's the most interesting for us is to create custom scenography. So it's more like the creative part of like creating environments that are actually very suitable for the purpose. And
so the way we set it up is that once we've kind of developed our infrastructure, then it's mostly about the scenography and augmenting the user experience within the existing framework.
Thank you. Thank you, Calin and Tiffany. I have a question more directed also, it's to Imane and Nacho and Christina. You also can answer the question. It's about, actually, it's a more general question. It's about the what the virtual in itself and what the virtual offers to you as a programmer, curator, or an art actor in general. So my question is, how do you invest the virtual space in terms of aesthetics, scenography, and content? Imane, maybe you can begin.
Yes, thank you, Elhem. For me, it offers a big playground because there is an infinity of possibilities in the virtual. I don't want to confront the real space and the virtual because it's two different experiences. But I guess in this pandemic context, it offers us more sustainable place, a place without rules, without politics also. So yeah, for me, it's a big playground for collaboration and for imagination, and also it's offered to the public different way to explore and to still dream on this time. So yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you, Imane. Sylvain joined us also.
Yes.
So maybe I give you the word. So my question was about how you invest actually the virtual space and how you inhabit it. What is your vision, Sylvain, about the virtual space and how to inhabit it?
Can you listen to me?
Yes.
First, you know, the virtual space, we've been investing in the physical space and the virtual space since 2005. And we've seen how the technology has changed, but also how the human being has changed since 2005. And I think this is very, very important to, I will have to leave. It's very important to take into account this fact that the virtual space has to become a space where we have to create special desires and special emotions, which are very different from the normal space. And this is the biggest challenge.
Thank you, Sylvain. Christina, do you have something to say about it? Christina?
Yes, hello?
Hello, sorry.
Yes, I think we inhabit it trying not to follow the established norm because we have that opportunity, but at the same time trying to open doors to the audience. I mean, many times it's not easy really connect with them, and I think it's important. It's important to create strategies to connect.
Thank you, Christina. I guess I thank you very much all for your presentations. Sorry to cut a little bit short because we are a little bit late on our program. Thank you again for joining us and for accepting our invitation. And
thank you so much, Elhem, and thank you everyone for joining us. We're very happy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elhem. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Yes.
I will now welcome Mélanie Bonneau and Amanda Mouelik. And Sophie Young. Sorry. As you know, and as announced in the beginning of the festival, we have a new partnership with Making Lemonade, an event in Korea in connection with the French Embassy in Korea, represented here by Amanda Mouelik, the Goethe Institute with Mélanie Bonneau, and the Nabi Center with So Young Ro. So they are organizing a symposium actually through Zoom and YouTube Live around reflections on the future of digital art. And we are welcoming them today to talk about Making Lemonade Symposium. Welcome, Amanda, Mélanie, and So.
Thank you so much, Elhem. Thank you, Recto VRso Festival, and Judith and all the team for the great partnership, as you said, and for giving us today the opportunity to present Making Lemonade towards a digital future for the arts. So the festival is actually happening exactly at the same moment as we are speaking, and I think you will be able to see a few sessions of the festival just after we speak. I just want to say that So Young, who's on stage with you, may leave in 10 minutes because she's part of the last panel, so we may have to excuse So Young. So briefly, we will try to be short too, so we can keep going with Making Lemonade on the other side, on the other screen. So what is Making Lemonade? So briefly, Making Lemonade is a 3-day online festival questioning, as Elhem said, the impact of digital tools and practices on the creation and distribution also of artistic content on an international level. We have to say that the festival is funded by the Franco-German Cultural Fund, and it's part of a Franco-German strategy in South Korea. Making Lemonade is mainly a collaborative project. It's the fruit of the cooperation between 3 main institutions and 3 countries, France, Germany, and South Korea. It introduced experts from all these 3 countries to discuss how the digital future of culture could look like through a mix of 5 discussions on specific art fields and topics, 5 showcases that we presented yesterday and that you could see in Recto VRso, and 3 performances. You saw one of them yesterday of Ayun Kwon. Actually, how did it happen and how the whole concept emerged? It came out from our discussion between the 3 of us on how to pursue our mission, which is, as you know it, to promote international arts and culture, and how to do this in a lockdown world. We were all facing exactly the same situation, all of us, and we could not suddenly pursue our mission being of facilitating the mobility of artists and artworks and fostering encounters between creators and professionals. So the question were how to reorganize our work through digital means, what underlying actions could be taken, what role must be allocated to digital tools in this restructuration, and what exactly is the impact of online programming, because we all went online. So what does it mean? What's the impact? And can we still foster international culture through that? So the more we dwelled into these new practices, the more we examined the role of digital tool as a creative tool, and how new technologies will not only affect the way we showcase the artwork, but also the way we create it, experience it, and buy it, altering the platforms on which we create, as well as the artistic language that we're going to create. So in a very nutshell, Making Lemonade is the platform that we decided to create to raise and address these issues between the example of France, Germany, and South Korea. I will now leave the floor to my friend and partner, Melanie. It's up to you, Melanie.
Yes, thank you very much. So I'm just very quickly going to let you know why we did initiate Making Lemonade. As Amanda already said, COVID-19 has shaped how culture and arts are presented. So we had to move online, and we figured that even though we enjoy very much the physical presence of artworks, the physical experience of performances, there's no way around going digital for a lot of art forms, and also there has been a boost for digital art works like VR during the last year. So we wanted to exchange, or to have a platform to be able to exchange about the experiences, about how the movement to online platforms and digital means has worked out for cultural actors, and also talk a little bit about the future and to see what might be missing and what should be developed for even after pandemic future that surely also will be made digitally. And I will hand over to Soyong.
Hello, who is making lemonade? Just briefly, as already Amanda introduced, it's collaborative work. First time ever, the three of us, Goethe Institute, Cultural Service of the French Embassy to Korea, and Art Center Nabi. For those who do not know who we are, Art Center Nabi is a digital arts center. Has been running for the past 20 years. And we are supported by Franco-German Cultural Fund. And we're very happy to be in partnership with Recto VRso Art and VR Festival. Back to you, Amanda.
No, sorry, it's my time. So okay. we thought because Making Lemonade is a 3-day conference and we are already on the last day, we thought we would share some of the takeaways from the program that has happened already. So the opening panel was focusing on cultural exchange and the effects of it from the pandemic with Errol Ock, the General Director and Acting President of Institut Français, Johannes Ebert, the Secretary General of the Goethe Institute, and Kyubon Kim, the Executive Director of Culture and Arts Research Division from Korea Cultural and Tourism Institute. And the main takeaway, I think the most interesting, was that of course, digital culture has been a topic already before the pandemic, but of course, it has been accelerated, and the environment for digital entrepreneurs and artists in the field of VR and games has even become better, and that connecting digitally and online is possible, but it cannot replace the physical encounter, but put another layer on it. And it's sometimes easier even to have online conferences because no travel is needed and there's less time involved, but working digitally is far from being cheaper than organizing physical events. It is even more expensive. So, so what is missing from our experience when we are moving into digital space? Everybody was agreeing that a completely new narrative is needed to have a satisfying storytelling for the digital formats. And an open question was how to deal with digital fatigue and how to secure digital access for everyone. And for international exchange, we ended on the note that mobility is core value and the physical encounter is still important and cannot be replaced digitally. So much from the opening panel.
We followed then with a discussion on performing arts with Annemie Vanakere, who's the director of Hobel Hofer, sorry Melanie for that pronunciation. Jinyob Cha, who's a choreographer, artistic director of Collective A, a Korean choreographer, and Gilles Alvarez, that you all know, so I won't present him. We mainly explored on that topic of performing arts the creative opportunities that were arising in that field. So Annemie really investigated the resource provided by online streaming and focused on what streaming can add as a new platform for performing art. Not just a platform where you showcase works that has been, filmed or anything, but how can it become a creative platform too? There's space actually for creating specific online format with a new specific audience. How can it be viable in the long run for the companies? What economic model has been developed in the 3 countries in that regards? And there were many examples that were quoted and very different actually approach. With Jinyob Cha and Gilles, we focused more on the potential of digital as a creative tool and the capacity of building the future digital theater. I think we're in kind of a form of a future VR and kind of theater. That's what Jinyob developed. And how does technology can create new artistic language, or on the opposite, can too much technology suffocate a specific poetic stance? So these questions were raised. Of course, it's still an open reflection, but it was quite interesting to be able to focus on these different examples. And So Young.
I think she might have already left.
Okay.
Okay. Then we had discussion on VR, and we had 3 panelists. Tina Sauerlander, from Artistic Director of VR Art Prize, and also Olivier Fontenay, Head of Digital Creation of French National Center for Cinema, and Jay Kim, of Curator of Busan International Fantastic Film Festival. All 3 of them are quite practitioners of VR, and they posed these questions. First, Tina. Sometimes understanding what happened in the past is the best way to look forward. So, what have been the most important key steps in the evolution of virtual reality? She walked us through those developments. Second, Olivier Fontenay. Digital has always blurred the boundaries between practices. Can extended reality technologies encompass the art world and the creative industry? Well, it's quite obvious that it should, and the matter is how better we could encompass these technologies can work in the art world and creative industries. It's up to really us practitioners to deliver them. And third, Jay Kim, he was very focused on the devices, extended reality devices such as headsets, and he explored the future further developments of those devices. And then he also posed this question of at the exact crossroad of cinema and game industries, can extended reality, can they survive separately? Those were the main questions they posed. Okay, back to you, Melanie.
Thank you. So then we had a showcase on digital opportunities for visual arts with Seung-Mi Baek, the curator of the Digital Museum Department of the National Museum of Korea, with E.G. Hong, curator of MMCA, Alina Fucht and Marina Bauernfeind, who are project managers for a digital exchange platform called Next Museum IO, Maite Labar, who is the head of digital department at the Musée du Louvre, and she talked about the transformation of Mona Lisa into VR, and Victoire Thévenin, who is the co-founder of Fabula and managing director at the VRR Festival. And she presented, amongst others, the Lemonade platform for VR artworks and exhibitions. And they were basically presenting what they had developed for showing their audiences the collection in different ways. And it was interesting to hear a lot of reflections about the conflict that museums have between the original artwork and its digital appropriations. Sung-Mi Baek, for example, also talked about how artists are reacting to the digital enhancement of their artworks, which is not always easy and not always a straightforward process. And the general opinion amongst the participants was that there shouldn't be too many screens between the visitors and the artworks, but that the digital can be very helpful to add more layers of experience of the artworks. There was also the question of sustainability raised of digital content, and I think all participants agreed that the digital should not only be an event, but something that is available throughout for the audience. Also, there was a strong emphasis that the digital work needs its own storytelling, and that interaction possibilities are elementary, and that they should the collection should not only be displayed digitally, but there should also be new possibilities how to engage with the artwork themselves, and that the digital should also be used to create connections, but not to replace the real life, but as I said before, to add on that. Maybe so much from the showcase.
Okay, we also, as I was saying at the beginning, we also decided to show 3 online. So on the first day, we hosted the German artist Manuel Rosner, who presented 2 projects. The first one called Surprisingly This Rather Works, which is an interactive experiment based on his last online digital show. It's an app that you can download, and you can have a little avatar that can move around inside his digital show that he created. And the second project was called Decentraland. Decentraland is the first virtual world owned by its users, where you can buy land, you can create artwork, you can showcase artwork, and you can sell your artwork, which can be bought by other users. So it tackled many questions, of course, the questions of NFT, of this virtual art market, and just more broadly, the future of exhibition in the digital world. So that was quite interesting. And on the second day, we hosted Ayun Kwon, who is a Korean VR artist. I think you saw that performance yesterday. Ayun is a Korean artist, but she's based in Paris. She's the co-founder of the VR studio Inner Space, and she showed us her piece, The Bird Lady. Of course, she's a visual artist at the end, and she came to VR quite lately, and all her work is really an examination between fiction and reality, between the two, between digital format and usual format, a more classical format. So she was quite an interesting person to have, because she really works on these 2 formats and on these 2 platforms. And today, just after I think our talk, you will be able to view Don't Compress Me, which is an interactive telematic performance by the Korean artist Ho Jung Song. It's a big discovery. You had to register on Zoom to be a participant, so you can show it, but it's interactive, so people will participate in it. And I will just finish with just about to start now too. We will have our last panel. So I think So Young must have left because she's part of the last panel with Judith Guez. And the last panel is where do we head from here? The future of digital arts. It's with So Young Ro, Director of Arts Center Nabi, with Judith Guez, of course, with Dae-Young Lee, Curator and Director of H-Zone, and with Marcus Lobes, who's the Artistic Director of the Academy for Theater and Digitality in Germany. So we can't tell you much about that, but we invite you to follow that panel that will be shown here in this room just after we're finished. And we may have to go also to greet them. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amanda and Melanie. Thank you very much. Oh, yes, indeed, we'll be broadcasting the last panel of Making Lemonade and the closing panel. So I guess see you in few.
Yeah.
In few seconds via Zoom. And thank you again for accepting our invitation. And we are very happy about this partnership this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Really, thank you so much for Recto VRso. It was great, and we're very happy that South Korea was invited this year to Recto VRso and was part of it, because it's a great country, especially for new technology and digitality. So thank you all, and we'll see you in the last panel in a few minutes. Okay.
Thank you.
We're heading off.
You.
Bye.
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 So now we'll be broadcasting the closing panel of Making Lemonade here in the conference room. Thank you very much for your attention.